Coming at you from Los Angeles, California, this is Mike from Astro. Hit that subscribe button. There's contact information down at the below if you feel like you would benefit from a consultation from yours truly. So what's the first thing that people usually use astrology for outside of like understanding themselves? What is one of the most useful utilitarian purposes of astrology? And that would be relationship compatibility. And relationship compatibility and the whole concept of compatibility is definitely debatable, but today I'm going to be coming at you with my top 5 red flag aspects in somebody's natal chart. If you're trying to form a relationship with them and you see one of these aspects pop up, this is something you really need to pay absolute attention to. So the following aspects that I'm going to list are not indicative of somebody that has a bad personality or that has an issue, but anybody who knows astrology knows that not all aspects are created equal and some are more difficult to manage than others. Many people can work through challenges as shown by their natal chart, but there are certain aspects that are going to be much more difficult in terms of personal relating with other people, and there are certain aspects that can be a lot more damaging in terms of how we relate person to person. First, having a heavy predominance of Pisces or 12th house in somebody's natal chart. When you see somebody that has a ton of planets either deposited in the 12th house or deposited in the sign of Pisces, and I'm not talking like 1 or 2 planets, I'm talking like 3 or more. Most notably, we're talking about like Venus, the moon, the sun, Mars, Mercury. When you see somebody with a really heavy amount of this Neptunian 12th housey energy, you're looking at somebody that's got some severe issues related to delusion, victim mentality, or we're talking about somebody that loses themselves in their feelings too much and doesn't really even understand how they're feeling most of the time. It's really difficult to work through, and it takes a lot of self-understanding and overcoming a lot of self-sabotage. If you see somebody that has heavy 12th house or heavy Pisces, drug abuse issues is definitely something to watch out for. Just laziness, messiness, not all the time, but it's just not a fun type of energy. Issues with depression, mental health issues can be a huge problem. So it's definitely something to watch out for. If you get involved with somebody like this, then you're basically dealing with somebody who, unless they're evolved, is like a black hole of emotions. They never can really get enough from their partner. They have to constantly be reassured. You have to sort of constantly hold their hand through a lot of their life issues that somebody with a much hardier chart is going to be able to handle much more easily. Now, there's some really good benefits to having those types of placements, compassion, creative ability, the ability to really feel what you're feeling and empathize with you. But the issues related to it can be really difficult to overcome. And if you're looking for a really healthy relationship and you're not looking for something like super codependent, then this is definitely something to watch out for. 2. This is one of the worst aspects, in my opinion, to find in somebody's natal chart, and that is Mars in hard aspect to Saturn, mostly the opposition or the square. When you see somebody, especially a man, that has this placement in their chart, you're looking at somebody that has a shitload of willpower and a lot of drive to succeed, but there's also an intense level of cruelty that is associated with this placement. There's a lot of disregard for the well-being of others. There's the mentality of like, I have to win. I have to be the one to, get to the top. I have to be the one to humiliate the people around me so that I can feel better about myself. There is such a dark, hard edge to this placement. And even women that have this chart can exemplify these issues, but a lot of times they project them onto a male. So when you see it in a woman's chart, a lot of times it's somebody that attracts like the super aggressive, intense individuals, and it's really not healthy. A lot of times it had to do with issues related to the father, feeling humiliated by their father, and so, or some sort of older male figure, and then later on in life they seek to repeat that pattern onto other people. Like, this is the person that gets trained by like a mentor or something, and then as they, get better at their craft, they then dethrone their mentor and then end up just kind of like throwing them to the side. They have no qualms about using other people to get what they want. These people actually, a lot of bodybuilders have this aspect. It doesn't always turn out to be absolutely horrible, especially if you're a little bit self-aware and you have some semblance of morals, but overall, it's a very cruel aspect to have, and it is just not fun to deal with. 3. Venus in hard aspect to Pluto. The worst one of all of those, in my opinion, is the square, but the opposition and the conjunction are going to be pretty bad as well. When you see somebody that has Venus square opposite or conjunct Pluto, you are looking at somebody that is highly, highly manipulative in their day-to-day relating with other people. Issues related to fear of abandonment, issues related to control, control over money, control over resources, control over your feelings. Those are going to pop up a lot. And you can overcome it. I mean, I have Venus conjunct Pluto, and I've said this many times before, and I've had to deal with some really, really nasty manifestations of this aspect within my personality. But this is the kind of person that isn't going to be comfortable with, people they don't know coming close to their partner. This is the kind of person that's going to subtly manipulate you into feeling any way that they want you to feel. This is the person that's going to try to control your whereabouts, know where you're at all times. This is the person that's going to obsess over you. And some people think that shit's hot, but those who have been in those types of relationships know that jealousy, obsessiveness, and the possessiveness just is not. It's not cool, it's not fun, and people with this aspect, if you haven't had to deal with those problems yet, I really suggest you take a hard look at yourself and try to figure out what you have done in the past to precipitate certain, particular issues in your relationships related to that placement. Also, on top of that, many times, and a lot of women who have this placement, they can engender that in others. So if you are dealing with somebody that has one of these aspects, they can attract obsessive relationships as well, and they can have a lot of people that become very obsessively interested in them. So if you are yourself the jealous kind of person, just be aware that you might have to deal with that. So keep that one in mind. That is a huge red flag. No aspect in synastry is a deal breaker though, but definitely watch out. 4. The Sun in hard aspect to Neptune. If you want somebody that is constantly the victim and life is always happening to them and they don't know what to do about it and it's just all woe is me, then get yourself somebody that's got the Sun either opposition or square Neptune. The conjunction's not as bad, actually. I like the conjunction a lot. But this is the kind of person that is always at the mercy of their environment. Other people are always doing something to them. Their life would be perfect if this wasn't happening, or they didn't have to deal with this, which, I mean, it's okay to understand that sometimes things aren't your fault, but when you're constantly living in that type of mentality, then it is really difficult for other people to kind of like get on board with you, because you got to have a little sense of positivity and a feeling that you have some sort of control over your circumstances, and that is a big problem for people with the Sun in hard aspect to Neptune. Another problem that comes up from this is actually the exact opposite occasionally, a God complex. Being delusional about how you fit into the world. It's just they don't know who they are, and so they either think that the whole world's out to get them, or they are literally God's gift to mankind. Look at Kanye West's chart. Look at how Kanye West has, he has the Sun in opposition to Neptune. And it's just, they really got to do a lot of soul searching to find out exactly who they are, or else their perceptions of themselves are just going to be very distorted, and it's very difficult to deal with. 5. Moon in hard aspect to Mars. That one actually goes up really close with the Mars in hard aspect to Saturn, in my opinion. If you want somebody that's always reacting, that's always trying to force their feelings upon other people, their feelings matter more than anybody else's, then that's the aspect for you. So when somebody has Mars in a conjunction, a square, or an opposition to the moon, these people can be very aggressive with their feelings. Their feelings matter and yours don't. And if you do something that upsets them, they basically get a green light to do whatever they want because you upset them. Now, there's always it's not always that bad, but it depends a lot on the house. If it's in the first house or the 10th house, it can be exceptionally bad, or God help you, the 7th house, because then you throw some codependency issues all up in that as well. But it's just these people can fly off the handle a lot, and I've seen a lot of people with these aspects do some really crazy things in fits of rage, like getting upset with her. Somebody I know got upset with her husband and stabbed him in the arm with a fork. I mean, I've seen a lot of things happen with this placement. Men that have it a lot, I've seen them be the perpetrator in domestic violence a lot. And it's just because they fly off the handle way too fast. They overreact. All they do is react, 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 react. They don't think before they act. Even if it's in even if the moon is in a more calmed sign, it's still like they just, it's really difficult for them to see something as it is, and everything is viewed through the lens of how they feel about it, and that's just not a healthy way to deal with anything, in my opinion. So I hope this was helpful. I will be putting up new content soon, so like I said at the beginning of the video, like and subscribe, and until next time, guys.